Okay. So good day, everybody. Bonjour tout le monde. Today, we're going to start on our knees and in a child's pose. So if your knees, I just want to take the time here because child pose is a very comfortable pose. It's actually the pose where when you take regular classes, they will say, if you're tired, if you need a break, go into child's pose. However, child's pose is not comfortable for everybody. So let's see if we can adjust that. So first of all, there's two options. You can separate your knees as wide as your mat and bring the big toes together, or you can bring the knees together. So that's the first step. Opening the knees allows for the chest to have a little bit more space to sink down. So, and then go and sit on your heels. So for some, this is a no-no with your knees. So if that's the case, then take a pillow, take a blanket, place it almost in your knee crease onto your calf muscles, and then you can sit like this. So then you come a little bit higher and the floor might seem really far away. So if you're that high and the floor is way too far, first of all, I would suggest that you separate your knees then. It's going to be a little bit more lower. And second, you can always use a chair. The other thing that's for many people sometimes an issue is the ankles. And I see that especially in men, which is, yeah, I don't know. So the ankles that are stiff, so we can never find that relaxation in it, especially if we're gonna go sit onto our heels and we have to hold because the ankles are stiff. So then I suggest to put a little roll that can be a small towel and place it under your ankles so that the curve remains natural. So if you know, so the reason I'm detailing this a bit is just know your body so that you know where the props can support you and you have them ready, and I don't need to repeat it every time, and we can do yoga. So from here, I like to start, and I'm going to take those out. I like to start with my knees separate, and then I'm going to take a breath in, and then I'm slowly going to walk my hands forward. If your neck is making too much of a bend, so which is closing your throat, please take a block, take a blanket, and place your forehead on that block. Your arms can be just resting here. Some people like to have their arms in the back, especially if you feel a lot of tension in the shoulders. You might just want to let go your shoulders here. So if you're higher and you're using the chair, then just cross your arms, place your forehead onto your arms, and stay here. And then for those who have done restorative, there is the in-between place where you can really bring some pillows here and then come like this. But then your head is on the side. So just stay here, arrive. Your breath is natural for now. So you want to feel your hips heavy. So whether they're on a pillow or on your heels, see if you can let go into the hips. So if you have to hold somewhere because you think you're going to hurt yourself if you let go, please take a prop. It can be a very tiny blanket. It can be 3-4 pillows. Everything is okay. Everybody is different. And now start to deepen your inhale and exhale through the mouth for 3 times. So sinking in your body a little bit more. And then now, again, deep breathing, but feel if you can expand into your back body. So especially you will feel it if you have your knees together. There is not much space in the front of your body when you breathe. So then especially you will feel how the ribs are expanding. Maybe your waist is expanding. Your Chest is lifting, so your whole upper body is lifting, and then exhale, release. So 3 more deep inhales and deep exhales. See if you can switch to exhaling through the mouth. That's slowing down the exhale. If you feel a lot of tension, then by all means, exhale through the mouth so that the tension can flow away. Of course, if you have a cold or something, you want to exhale through the mouth and inhale through the mouth, but eventually you'll feel that your nostrils are opening up. And then slowly come back to a natural breath and start to lengthen out your arms in the front. So if you have any support, if you are on a chair and you need that chair, by all means, press your hands into the chair. If you're on the floor, press your hands down. So I want to press all my fingers into the mat. I want to press the bottom of my palm into the mat, the side of my palm, my thumb and my index. And you can look forward or you can look to the mat. Press down and see if you can sink a little bit more in between your shoulders. It might not be a lot, but you probably feel it into your shoulders. Now press your thumb and your index into the mat and start to roll the inside of your elbows up. Again, this is minimal movement, especially if you've already been pressing hard into your hands, and then see if the shoulders are following the outward movement. If you don't feel anything, don't worry. The arms are straight. We want to really keep the arms strong. The rest of my body is still in my child's pose. And then release. Bring the arms back, bring the forehead back down, and relax the shoulders. One more breath here. And then extend your arms again. This time we're going to bring the right arm at the height of the right shoulder. So my palm is down for now. And I'm going to come on to my left fingertips. And then keep your hips very heavy. Start to walk your hands towards the right. So if you are if you were using the chair, you can put the chair to the side and you can do this because we're a little bit higher. So press your right hand into the floor, same strength as we did just before with the front, and walk your left hand towards your right, opening our side body. Maybe you can walk your left hand a little bit away from you, even opening more, but watch out that left hip doesn't lift. So we really want to go into that big side stretch, especially in the waist here. Your right elbow can be bent, or you have to bring your hand a little bit further to really see what's happening. And then slowly walk back. Now, the right hand is trying to catch the left hand, so you're on your fingertips. Bring your left hand at the height of your left shoulder. Fingers are on the floor. Come onto your right fingertips. And then as you exhale, walk your right hand towards the left. So again, inhale, press your right hip down, open the right side of your body, walk your fingers a little bit further, both hands maybe. And 3 breaths here. And then coming back to center. So reaching out with your fingers, walking your hands towards the front, and slowly start to lift your bum from your heels. Bring the forearms down. So my forearms are on the floor, my elbows are underneath my shoulders, and I'm going to extend my legs. So I'm going to be in a plank onto my forearms. Now, often when we hear, because we have a little bit more support in our arms, we're going to sink in between the shoulders. So press into your arms, lift your upper spine, lots of abdominal work here. I remember someone asked a question about it. So press your heel back. Press your tailbone towards your heel. Your pubic bone is coming towards your navel, and your navel is coming up to the sky. If this is too much or you need a little break, bring your knees down, but don't lose the action in the core. So you want to keep that action in the core, even with your knees on the floor. That's why I want to start in plank and then put the knees down if needed, rather than starting on the knees, because you won't immediately feel that connection with your core. And then very slowly, keeping the toes how they are, bring your hips down to the floor. So my pubic bone is on the floor, my belly can be lifted. Untuck your toes, roll the shoulders back. So I'm rolling my shoulders back, my shoulder blades are going down. Press into your forearms. So press your forearms and your hands onto your mat. Your hips are heavy, your legs are not doing a lot, your lower back is relaxed, very important. And then inhale, as if you want to pull your mat back with your forearms. We're going to bring our chest a little bit more to the front. Again, subtle movements. You only probably feel it. If I would be looking at you, I won't see anything. But you should feel some opening in the chest. You can look to the front. So don't keep your head down or don't look excessively up. The neck is very in line with the spine. Take a deep breath in. Relax the lower back. If you tense in the lower back, you're not opening. This is a lower back opener. The weight of your hips is keeping you in place there, and then we're pulling the spine towards the front. And then release. Make a pillow with your hands. Place one ear onto your pillow and take 2 or 3 breaths here. And then let's come back to center with your head. Now we're gonna reach the left arm out again at the height of the shoulder, just like we did before. And then I'm gonna come on my right fingertip. So my right hand is about at the height of my right shoulder, but my elbow is bent. And then with a lot of strength, I'm gonna start to push onto my right hand. My left arm is completely on the floor and I'm gonna roll over onto my left side. So opener for your shoulder. If you need more stability, bend your right knee and place your right foot behind your left leg. If you need a little bit of height for your head, take a pillow, take a block. If you want to go further, then start to move even further with your body. But be careful, this is a big stretch into your left shoulder. So you can reach your right arm up and then open the chest. But the main purpose is really opening into the left shoulder. 2 more breaths here. And then slowly coming back towards the center. Make a pillow with your hands. Bring the other ear onto your hands and stay here for 2 breaths. And then look back to the center. Lengthen out your right arm to the side. Left hand at the height of your shoulder, left elbow bent, and then start to roll onto your right side. You can walk your right hand a little bit further out if you want. You can bend your left knee and place your left foot behind your right leg. So breathing easily here. If your breath stops, if your breath is very broken, maybe you're just going a little bit too far. So come back to your breath and then go back to the movement. And then slowly coming back to center. This time, place both hands underneath your shoulders. Your elbows are pointing back. Roll the shoulders back, elbows pointing even more back. Feel how your shoulders get away from your ears. And I'm looking down here. I'm not looking up. I'm looking down. And I'm going to press the top of my feet into the floor, which is also going to activate my whole legs. And then very slowly roll the shoulders back, elbows back, shoulder blades down. Start to press into your hands as if you were going to pull your mat back, but this time not the forearms, just your hands. Opening the chest. You should feel a lot of work in the arms here, a lot of work, a lot of opening in the chest. Just let your gaze follow the curve of your spine, of your neck, and then slowly coming down. Bring the hands in a pillow, place your forehead onto your pillow. And we're going to lift the right leg just a little bit. Press your left leg down. So I'm pointing my foot here. And imagine someone is coming and just give you a little knock at your right foot. So your hip is just going to move back a little bit, creating a little bit more space to move. And then inhale, lift your right leg up. So the right leg is very active, the left leg too. You can place your forehead onto your pillow or you can just look up, whatever works best for you. Make sure you're still breathing, maybe lifting a little bit higher, point the toes away. Your whole leg is very active, your left leg is your support. Don't roll over to the left. And then release. Take a breath in, relaxing your lower back. So we're strengthening the lower back here. And then press your right leg into the floor. It's your support. Lift your left leg just a little bit so that you can pull your left leg back. And then start to lift your left leg. Press your right leg into the floor. The top of your foot, your right foot is pressing into the floor. Lift up, lift up. Keep on breathing. Don't stop breathing here. And then slowly coming down. Bring both your hands. So two options here. Bring both your arms back and interlace your hands. So my top of my feet are still pressing down. If this is too much for you, you need more support, or the shoulder opening is, or reaching the hands together is not available for you today, then lengthen your arms alongside your body and place the palms down. So interlace your hands, roll the shoulders back, lengthen your arms, shoulder blades are going down, but they're also coming together here. And then start to pull your arms back, and maybe that's gonna help you to lift up. So this is the last back bend we do here on the floor. So take a breath in. If you wanna add, this time both legs come up together. So pointing the feet, maybe the big toes are still touching. Inhale, exhale. And then slowly release. Release your hands. Make that pillow, bring your forehead onto your pillow. And to release the lower back, bend your knees and just move your legs from side to side. So this is going to release the lower back, the hips, the sacrum. This is also a very good move to do if you, I know it's not gardening time, but okay, snow shoveling time. If you've been working and your lower back is a little bit sore, lay down on the floor and just release. So without holding here. And then coming back to center. Place your hands down, press into your hands and come into your tabletop. So move slowly from a back bend, move into a tabletop. So wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Find your neutral spine. And then turn your head towards the right, press your hips towards the right. So creating a C, arms are very strong into the floor. And then coming back to center, looking towards the left, press your hips towards the left. So let's do this one more time each side. So pressing. And another C. And then coming back. So we're going to do cat and cow, but we're going to break it down. So first of all, finding that movement in the hips. So which for most of us is probably easier to find than finding the movement in the upper part of your spine. So we've just been doing back bend, so you might feel something happening in your lower back, to move consciously. Let's inhale, lift the tailbone and just let the belly follow down. So your arms, my shoulders, my upper back, nothing is moving. I'm just very strong in my arms. Exhale, bring the tailbone down and lift the belly button up. Let's do this 3 more times. So inhaling, exhaling at your own rhythm for 2 more. If you need to stay in one of the 2 sides, please do so. Especially after back bends, it might feel good to stay with a rounded lower back. And then coming back to neutral. So now we're going to leave the hips as they are, and we're just going to move with the top of our upper body. So roll the shoulders back, bring the shoulder blades together, see if you can bring the eye of the elbow to the front, and then look up. And it's a hard one. And then start with your crown of the head, start to bring the chin towards the chest, press into your hands so that you can lift the upper part of your spine. So let's do this. So you should feel that you're moving quite a lot into your shoulders, whether they're rolling in or rolling out. So rolling out as you inhale, rolling in as you exhale, opening and closing the chest. So let's do this 1 more time. And so let's now connect both, but starting the movement from your center. So you have your ribs and then it's like a V, and there's the solar plexus, which is a big energy center. So the connection between the first part with it and the second part with it, there is your solar plexus. So drop that part. So it's above your belly, drop that part down. And let the rest of the spine follow. So doing the movement, lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly, and then rolling the shoulders out and looking forward. And then as if someone, or you had a cord like hanging at your spine and someone was lifting you from the center, and you basically bring the crown of the head and your hips together, rounding the spine. So it's a different move than what we usually do for cat and cow. So let's do this again, dropping the center, letting everything follow, and then lifting up. 1 more time like this. So if this is the first time you do this, you might feel a bit confused. Creating new habits is not an easy task. And then coming back to neutral. Now we're going to do 3 more cat and cows, but you're going to move the way you want to move. So let's see. I'm not guiding you. So let's just start on an inhale. And an exhale. 2 more times at your own rhythm. And then coming back to your neutral spine. Now bring your hands a little bit more to the front. Bring your feet, lengthen out your legs, and we're coming into plank. So again, the option to keep the knees on the floor, but activate your core. Press into your hands. Lift your right leg up just a little bit. Push your heel away, toes are going to the floor, and then bring it down. Lift your left leg up just a little bit. Active core. If your core is not active, you're going to fall through your lower back. And then coming down and bring the knees down. Walk your hands back before we continue on our wrist. Let's give our wrist a little shake out. And let's come back. So now we're going to go into a side plank. You can go onto your, so I'll show you first the option with the knees. So we're going to go to the right. So right hand on the floor, right knee on the floor, and then I'm bringing my right foot out, so out of my mat. And then I'm gonna bring my left leg long, but my left foot is in line with my right knee and my right hand. So that's in case you need support. Make sure your right wrist is underneath your right shoulder. And then you can start by putting your left hand onto your left hip and feel how you can press your hips forward. So that's the first step. And then you're gonna inhale and lift your arm up. If you wanna go into full side plank, bring both feet together. You're in your full plank, and then you're gonna roll on the outside of your right foot and place your left foot on top or in the front. Don't put your foot in the back because it's gonna be very difficult to balance your hips. And then lifting up. So whichever way you're doing, press your hips forward. If you're on your knee, or if you're very strong in the full plank, then you can lift your upper leg up. So we worked the back muscles, we worked a little bit the abdominals, and now we are working the obliques. So we're focusing on the core today. And then slowly coming back and come onto your knees. So one thing I forgot to say, if your wrist is really not happy, you can always go onto your forearm. So your forearm should be diagonally pointing to the opposite corner, and then you can be here and move from here. What we don't want is collapse into the hips. So let's go to the other side. So option to put your left knee down, left foot out, right foot in line, right wrist underneath the right shoulder, and then start to lift up, maybe lift up the leg. But as you lift up the leg, watch out that you don't bend. So push those hips forward, flex your right foot. Otherwise, full plank, maybe lifting up. So lifting the kneecaps to protect your knee, activating the quads here. 2 more breaths. And then slowly coming back, bring the knees down and come back into your child's pose. So bring your arms to the back in child's pose, maybe wiggle your wrists a little bit so you can give them a little break. And then slowly coming on to your knees. We're not gonna stay here, so don't worry about props. I'm gonna inhale, reach the arms up. So if for you, it's better to be on your knees, you can be here. Reach your arms up. Actually, let's all come onto our knees. Reaching up, reaching up. And then bring the hands onto your hips. Bring the left foot out. So you don't want to lean over already. Your left toes are pointing forward, so towards the long side of your mat. Your right knee is just underneath your hip. From here, lengthen your right arm. So the arm from the knee that's bent, and then we're gonna go towards the side. So you won't go that far as you expect maybe, because our leg is out. So glide your hand down, reach your upper arm up. Keep on breathing, keep on lengthening. You can hold on to that leg. And then slowly coming back. This time bring your right hand down, your right wrist underneath the right shoulder, and lift your left leg. So very similar to side plank, except we're really focusing on lifting that left leg. So press your hips forward again. You might want to lift up your left arm. If you want to add it, you can just keep it on the hip. And then very slowly bend your left knee, bring your left knee next to the right, and we're standing, we're on our knees again. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, down, hands onto the hips. Bring your right foot out. So again, make sure you're on your mat, otherwise you might be slipping away. So the foot is really solidly planted into the mat. You don't have your inner foot and the outer foot lifted. So press into that outer foot. And this might be enough of a stretch already. Lift your left arm up. And then as you exhale, start to go over towards the right. Keep the right leg straight. Feel that opening on the side. And then slowly bring the left hand underneath the left shoulder. Lift the right leg up. If this is too much, just keep your big toe on the floor, but watch out that you don't push your hips forward. You can eventually lift your left arm up, your right arm up. And then slowly release. So we're gonna do one downward dog today. So I hope your wrists are happy. If your wrists are not happy, do dolphin. So dolphin is where you bring your forearms on the floor, you separate your fingers, you make sure that your elbow and your shoulder is in the same line. So not like this, really like this. For some people, sometimes it's handy to put a strap around, but then we have problems. We don't know what to do with our head because of the strap. So if you're going into downward dog, press your hands down, open your fingers, and then tuck your toes. And your spine is going to be very happy now. So press into your hands, start to lift your hips. Keep your knees bent for now. Press into your hands, bring your head in between your arms. As we did many times, roll the inside of your elbows out. Roll the shoulders out, but keep them away from your ears. So lengthen, lengthen into the hips, into the spine, lifting up the hips. And then start to walk your dog a few times, just to find that stretch into the legs. And then bend both knees, lift your hips up again, and bring the heels down. Lift your right leg up, bend your right knee, and open your hips towards the side. So if you're in dolphin, you can do this. You can keep your left knee bent if you want to, because it's a big stretch. Otherwise, just go onto hands and knees and go like this. Okay, so make the adjustments, explore a little bit what works for you. And then lift your right leg up again. We're going into pigeon. So bend your right knee, place the right knee behind the right wrist, walk your left leg back. So if you know you have knee issues, come onto your back and do thread the needle. Yesterday we did it with the strap, holding on to the right knee, right foot, and then bringing in the hip, and then eventually pushing with the left leg. So you can do that. Walking the hands back if you're in pigeon, opening the chest. Take a breath in. If you want to go for a quad stretch, bend your left knee and grab your left foot. So you can grab your left foot, you can grab your pants if your foot is too far, or you can just stay here, bringing that foot closer towards your back. So don't collapse with the upper body. The more you're going to go forward, you're going to feel less here. So the more we're lifting our chest, the more you're going to feel that stretch into your left upper leg. And then release. Take another breath in, and now walk your hands forward. You can place your forehead on the floor or a pillow, or make a pillow with your hands. If your forehead is on the floor or on a pillow, you can place your forehead. You can reach your arms forward. If you're falling over to the right, put a pillow underneath your right bum. So you want to be very symmetric in a way. One long line from your crown of your head all the way down. You don't want to fall over one side or the other. And now release. Don't hold anywhere. So if you're holding because you're afraid to hurt yourself, come onto your back. Don't put the whole weight of your body onto your knee. This is a big, big opener. Your hips are happy when you do this. Let's stay here for 3 more breaths. By all means, if you want to stay longer, stay longer. And that's valid for every pose. And then slowly bring your hands closer, press into your hands, tuck your back toes, and come into your downward dog. So move gently. Maybe you want to do a little dance here. Maybe you enjoy the feeling of the hips that has been opened up and is now smiling. So again, lengthen your spine, lift your left leg up. Bend your left knee and let's open up the hip. So here we're opening the hip, the inside of our hip or the inside of our leg. It's difficult to describe this one. And then lift your left leg up as high as you can. Press into your hands and then bend your left knee and come into pigeon on the other side. So left knee behind the left wrist. Walk your back leg back. So your right leg is walking as far back as you can. Then walk your hands closer to your body. Bend your right knee and grab your right foot with your right or your left hand. Either way is good. Eventually with both hands. And then you're in balance and requires a lot of pelvic strength. And then release the leg gently. Inhale, open the chest, maybe lengthen that leg again, and then coming down. So one side can feel very different than the other. So prop yourself as you need to. Observe which side is a little bit more challenging. Maybe next time you want to stay a little bit longer into this side. So pigeon pose is a great pose also to do in the evening. You don't have to roll out your mat for this. If you have a carpet or something, just go stay a couple of minutes each side, put some music on, relax. Don't go to pain in the knee. Let's stay for 2 more breaths here. And then slowly bring the hands closer, tuck your back toe, and come into your downward facing dog. So if you're on your back, you can stay there. We're gonna join you. Inhale, exhale. And then bring the knees down, turn your legs towards the front. We are approaching Shavasana, so if you need blankets and socks, just put them next to you. We're not there yet. So if you're lying down, just come up into a seat. Separate your feet as wide as your hips. Your knees are bent. You're not too close here. So your feet are at the front of the mat. And then bring your hands in the back, fingers pointing towards your toes. Roll the shoulders back. So opening the chest here. You might have to adjust once you start to come up. So we're going to open the front of our shoulders. Press into your hands. You can gently bend your elbows and then start to press up, lift your hips up. Your knees and your heels should be in one line. You don't have to go and look and make a ton of adjustments. You will just probably feel it. If your feet are too far, this is a very awkward feeling. If they're too much in the front, you'll work more, which is, if you want to do that, that's perfectly fine. So feel the front of your shoulders opening, your biceps is stretching. Lift your hips a little bit higher. Your head, don't let it drop back. You can look forward or you can just look to the ceiling. Stay here for 3 more breaths if you can. And then slowly coming down. Grab the back of your thighs and gently roll yourself down. Bring your knees into your chest. Open your arms towards the side. So my feet are lifted, my knees are quite close. So we did a lot of strengthening of the spine, so shortening of the lower back muscles. So we're gonna give them a little stretch. So bring your knees as close as you can towards your chest. Open the arms. You can place your palms down if you need more stability, or you can place them up. And then exhale, bring your knees towards the right. So keeping them as close as possible to your shoulders, which will round your lower back. If this is not comfortable, play with your knees, explore what height. If you're going lower than your hips, then you're gonna curve your spine, which usually is not very comfortable. Otherwise, keep them as high as possible. If you can, keep your left shoulder on the floor. Release, we're not doing anything here. So can you maybe exhale through the mouth, letting go? If you have to hold your knees or anything, take the blanket, take the block, place it in between your knees, place it under your knees. Learn to adjust, but stay open for what may be different today. More open, maybe a little bit more closed if you're more tense. And then slowly coming back to center. Stay here for one breath. Again, bring your knees close to your chest. Open the arms and then go to the other side. And again, maybe observing differences. So keep on bringing your knees a little bit higher. See how that feels. Don't lift your shoulder, your right shoulder too much. We really want to press it down to have the maximum benefits of the twist. Three more breaths here. And then you can move into your Shavasana. So take a breath in, come back to center, just stay here for one breath, just realigning your spine, and then extend your legs towards the corner of your mat or even wider, whatever is comfortable for you. If your lower back is disturbing you, place something under your knee. So what's going to happen if you place something under your knee is your lower back is going to come on the floor, so very slightly rounded, which is a very relaxing pose for your lower back. And then bring your arms into Shavasana. Adjust your head if you need to. So if you feel that your chin is really up in the air, push the skin of the skull away, not to the point where you can't breathe, but just to the point where you feel, oh yeah, this is okay. And then slowly let your body take in your practice. Maybe you want to exhale a little bit longer to start to release any tension that builds up while we're moving, while we're stretching and strengthening. So stay here as long as you want. If this is the start of your day, first of all, start to breathe a little bit deeper, reconnecting body and breath. And then bring the legs together, maybe moving the toes, maybe the ankles, the wrists, the fingers, opening and closing the hands, maybe moving the elbows. And then take a deep breath in. Press your feet away, lift up your arms overhead, maybe take a big yawn. And then another stretch, and then exhale, bring the knees into the chest. And then very slowly rolling onto your right side to eventually come into a comfortable seated position. Take your time to find the comfort in your seat. If you're still in Shavasana, perfect. Listen to you. And then bring your hands in front of your heart. Tuck your chin. May your thoughts be peaceful. Your words kind and respectful. And may your heart always be filled with love. Thank you so much for sharing your practice, for being here. And I wish you a wonderful rest of the day. Namaste.